Hey guys, what's crack-a-lackin'? Yo soy la Yuma Cubana, and the topic for today is psoriasis. I happen to have psoriasis, and I wanted to share a little about my experience as well as provide some suggestions that might prove to be helpful. So, to preface though, I am not a dermatologist by any stretch of the imagination, didn't take a Hippocratic oath, no medical training. This is simply me sharing my story with Jewel, my friends, okay? Alright. So, what is psoriasis? It is basically the rapid growth of skin cells. So, normal skin cells will mature and divide over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, about a month, whereas psoriasis skin cells will undergo the same process within 3 to 5 days. So there is a dramatic difference there. And as these psoriasis skin cells rise to the surface prematurely, they form this inflammation, these salmon-colored like pink patches on your skin, accompanied by these silvery kind of flakes that just kind of fall off, right? So I was diagnosed with psoriasis at the age of 13, and a biopsy was taken from my left arm. Once it was confirmed, I remember sitting in the waiting room and a woman walked in, handed me a pamphlet titled, "What is Psoriasis?" Now, in that moment, I didn't fully comprehend the implications that it would have on my life henceforth, especially growing up in the sunshine state of La Florida, Florida, my country, and you know, where the seasons are hot, hotter, hottest, and are you kidding? Walking around year-round in a flannel shirt, you know, there's just something odd about that. And there would be times I'd be having lunch with my friends across the street from our high school, and they'd be ever so concerned. They'd be like, "Elizabeth, aren't you hot?" What? No. I'm sweating profusely, beads of sweat trickling down my face. Nope, not hot. Because the moment that I would find the bravery to remove my long sleeve, therein came the questions like, "Oh, what is that on your skin? Do you have chicken pox? Do you need to go home?" I'd be like, "No, man, I don't have chicken pox. It's an autoimmune system disorder in which the skin cells, man, you know what, never mind, it's over your head." And it would make me even more self-conscious about it. So I think the biggest fear though was, is it contagious? And it is not. So where is it on the body? When I was younger, it covered a lot more surface area than it does in present day. And there are certain body parts in which it will come out symmetrically. So for example, elbows. I happen to have it on my elbows now, as you can see. I've been a bad girl, like papao for sure, because living this gypsy nomadic lifestyle in which I don't have a kitchen to store my food and prepare most of my meals, eating out, sometimes I don't always make the best decision for myself, and this is a consequence. Your skin will let you know. So I'm aware of what my triggers are, and I accept this as a consequence of eating what I do. It was also on my knees symmetrically, ear canals, my scalp, where I could just go like this and it looked as though I was inside a snow globe. Where else? My ankles, my knuckles, and sometimes it would just appear in the most random places, like a spot on my right butt cheek, for example. Some of these spots would fade away in a short amount of time, whereas others made a more permanent home. And eventually, you know, you just build a memory map of where they're located on your body. So the skin is the largest organ of the human body, right? And it's miraculous in that you can have the tiniest baby ant crawling on the back of your leg and you feel it right away. So whatever we put into this orifice that we call a mouth, whatever we eat and consume, if our digestive system is incapable of processing it, in an act of desperation and a means of a last resort, it will try to push it out of the skin. And this would allure, right, to the fact that diet has a huge influential factor in this, right? As most ailments do. So I considered doing a food panel at one point, and from what I had read, sometimes it gives false positives, and plus they were quite expensive. So I identified a trinity of potential culprits. 1, gluten. It ain't the bread that we broke with Jesus. It is some genetically modified version of wheat that the human body isn't made to process. Number 2, dairy. Again, it's not as Mother Nature intended, full of live cultures and good bacteria and not pasteurized. Nowadays, it is pasteurized. A lot of these cows sometimes are treated with hormones, which obviously go into the milk as well. And if we think about it, unless you count cats, we're the only mammal, I think, that drinks another mammal's milk, so that's weird. The last thing is sugar. Sugar, for me, is a legal drug, like alcohol and cigarettes. It will literally stimulate the same regions in your brain as cocaine, man, and that's insane. Also, it has nada nutritional value of the human body, as well as it causes inflammation in the brain and in other areas. So I eliminated these 3 things from my diet for the duration of 3 weeks. And I saw a dramatic clearing of my skin. Not 100% eliminated, but a dramatic clearing of my skin, to the point where I remember doing this in the mirror and just being in awe of like how clear my elbows were. So what I suggest is, what you could do is take those 3 weeks. If your skin clears, what you could do is introduce one thing at a time. So maybe you want to start with gluten, because not everybody has an intolerance to gluten or dairy. So introduce that, consume that if you wish for another 3 weeks, and then reassess. See how your skin reacts. It does communicate with you, right? And then after that, if all is well, then introduce, whatever gluten or dairy, whatever you didn't do. And just, it's a means of troubleshooting, really, is what it is, right? And so this is going to take scrutinizing the ingredients of those things that you buy in the store. Because gluten and wheat and sugar are in some items that you're just like, why is sugar in ketchup, or why is sugar in this, right? And so it's really 100%, right? Not one single grain if you can help it. Honey is a wonderful substitute. Mother Nature gifted us with it. So another thing that I would suggest is increase your water intake if you don't already drink sufficient water for your body weight. Our bodies are composed of 60% water. It has a myriad of benefits, flushing out the toxins, lubricating the joints. We can go a few weeks without food, but 2 or 3 days without water, that's it. That's all she wrote. So I started off with a half a gallon, and I've never been successful with individual bottles. I lose track. So I literally just bought a gallon of water and said, okay, half today and half tomorrow. And I will admit that I used to mock people that would bring in gallons of water to the gym. Be like, you're not going to drink all that, you're at the gym. But I'm totally on that bandwagon now, and I understand. Another thing that I suggest is vitamin D intake. I do not mean the pill form supplement, nor the tanning bed. I mean just walking outside and getting natural sunlight, 10-15 minutes, and letting your pores absorb that. Now, is this easy? Absolutely not. There's nothing easy about it. However, as a matter of fact, the first 72 hours are quite hellish. But after that, it's amazing. It does become easier. The cravings will weaken, and you will notice a difference in your bowel movements, in your energetic level, in your emotions. Yes, your emotions. There is a vagus nerve that is connected from your belly to your mind, and it is bi-directional channel of communication. And so yes, what we eat can have an effect on our emotions. Now, as a forewarning, where most people falter is social pressure. So that includes eating out at restaurants, traveling. If you work in an office environment, Margaret from marketing brings in donuts because TGIF, or Bob from accounting, it's his birthday, and he brings in a Carvel ice cream cake, and you're like, damn it, Bob, you shouldn't have. No, really, Bob, you shouldn't have, you know. And then, you know, they'll offer it to you and you'll be like, oh, you know, thank you so much. I just started this diet, so I'm trying to cut some stuff out. And then maybe they'll respond with, well, you know, YOLO, you only live once, or one time isn't going to kill you. You've heard these kind of rebuttals. So what I find to be more efficient is just saying, hey, Martha, I just ate a huge breakfast, but thank you so much. Maybe a little later. Or, hey, Bob, I've had diarrhea all day, but happy birthday anyways. Okay, bye-bye. You know what I mean? Like something like this. And if they pressure you after that, then they're just jerks. Another contributor to the flaring of psoriasis is stress. And, you know, error day, you know, it's part and parcel of life is stress. And even Buddha said life is suffering, and yes it is. However, we as human beings will take the default stress of life and then we superimpose it with more stress unnecessarily. And that's usually done by inner dialogue, like ruminating. Like, why did this have to and I'm such a and he said and then it's just like this inner dialogue that you're just, you know, going through, and it creates stress. And if you harbor emotions such as anger, resentment, that will directly affect your internal organs. So it does have a physiological effect when you cannot control negative thoughts up here, right? When you don't purge those. I suggest an outlet. If you don't already, you know, exercise, you can, you know, spark that up. It doesn't even have to be a traditional gym. Racquetball, bowling. I personally do boxing a couple of times a week. And I also do hot yoga once a week. You know, age appropriate. If you're an adult, good old fornication, you know, or if you're a kid, good old masturbation, like whatever. Just some kind of like outlet, right, to the stress. Go running, go walking, play tennis. There are a myriad of different activities that you can partake in that will, even if you just sing loudly with Adele, you know, just whatever outlet, it does work. And as the root motivation is in most capitalistic societies, it is for the love of money. It is profit, right? And my friends, the pharmaceutical companies would have us believe that food is not thy medicine, right? And like you, I have combed the webs of the internet looking for a natural homeopathic remedy to this condition, and this is the closest that I've come to helping myself on this. I've had dermatologists prescribe these steroid creams that cost hundreds of dollars, and yes, they made my skin flush, but then they started to eat away at the healthy layers of my skin, and so that's not a long-term solution. They want to sell you a pill. We're one of the 3 countries that allows for this type of direct marketing. Have you seen these commercials for psoriasis? They are preying on our insecurities, right? It is an exaggeration, right? You take this pill, do you listen to the side effects? Instead of like being mesmerized by this woman frolicking around with unicorns and now her skin's clear and there's rainbows and bunny rabbits and no, man, you consume that pill, sure, you know what? It may clear your psoriasis, but then you're gonna lose your teeth, you may go bald, you have diarrhea. It's like, what? It's causing havoc on other areas of your body, so you gotta weigh out the pros and cons. I would say, please, if you're gonna go that route, okay, that's your decision. But at least try this first. Because if what it is, for those of us, if it is what we are eating that is causing the flaring of the psoriasis, then that would logically mean that we have the power as well to change what we eat, eliminate certain food items, and hence help our skin clear. Now, there is more profit in the treatment of this condition than there is the cure. And there are 7 million strong of us that have this condition as per a Harvard Journal of June 2019. 7 million people. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You think it behooves them to cure us? No. They want us to continue buying these topical ointments and maybe, you know, risk taking these pills and risk those list of side effects that it has. Now, I think in this culture, in this Western culture, our focal point is that of, you know, physical appearance and you know, food diet, but we overlook mental diet and the purging of these negative thoughts, right? Because I believe that is equally as important. There was a great analogy in a Buddhist text in which, you know, a piece of hot coal lands on your sleeve. And if you flick it off right away, no harm done. But if you allow it to sit there, it will burn a hole through the sleeve. Same thing with your thoughts. Once you realize that you are ruminating and stuck in a rabbit hole of just negativity, change your state of mind. Go for a walk, or say an affirmation. I find that meditation is a skill set that helps you do this in real time. So if you take, the 5 to 10 minutes in the morning or in the evening, I suggest in the morning. Why? Because number one, your mind is clearer, right? And it sets a tone for the rest of the day as well. And you're more likely to be consistent with it if you do it in the morning versus when you get home after your whole day and you're just like, I want to meditate. And it allows you the opportunity to kind of take a step back and be still and listen to the inner dialogue as somebody kind of eavesdropping, more than when you're in it. And because you are authoring this dialogue, you are the author of that, right? You are the architect of your life and your reality. And so when you author this dialogue, this negative dialogue in your mind, you have the power to eradicate it as well and change the script. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. On that note, I wish you well. May this have been educational and entertaining and helpful. And until next time, please take care of yourself and of each other. Un besito. Ciao.